Okay, so for number 1, we are going to solve this system of equations using elimination. And so remember that what we're trying to do is we're trying to either get rid of the x's or get rid of the y's. So looking at that, I'm going to choose to multiply the second row by -2. So I'm going to rewrite the first row, and then I'm going to multiply -2 by everything on the second row. And don't forget that last constant on the end. Then I'm going to add these together. So 5x and -4x is 1x. The 6y and the -6y cancel out. -8 and 10 is 2. So x is equal to 2. So there's half of my answer. So I'm going to get my ordered pair going. So 2 will be my x coordinate. Now to find my y coordinate, I'm going to take x equals 2 and I can plug it in for x either there or there. It doesn't matter which one. I'll just do the second one. So 2 times 2 plus 3y is equal to -5. So 4 plus 3y equals -5. And so I'm going to subtract 4 from both sides. So 3y is equal to -5 and -4 is -9. Divide both sides by 3. And I'll get y is equal to -3. That's the other half of my ordered pair. So I'm going to come up here and put -3. And so my answer is 2, -3.
Okay, number 2. I would multiply the top by -2 on this problem. That gives us -18x minus 2y equals -26. The bottom is 3x plus 2y equals -4. I'm going to add these together. -18x plus 3x is -15x. -2y plus 2y is 0 equals -30. Divide both sides by -15. And x equals a +2. Now I want to take that 2 and plug it back in for x. That way I can find out what y is. So I have 9 times 2, parenthesis, plus y equals, oops, that did not show up. There we go, 9 times 2, parenthesis, plus y equals 13. 9 times 2 is 18, plus y equals 13. We're going to subtract 18 from both sides, and y equals -5. So the answer to the system, my x value is 2, my y value is -5. Now I'm going to go back and look at this one again. There's another way that we could have solved this problem. And let's talk about that. This y right here would be really easy to get by itself. If we just subtracted 9x from both sides, we would have y equals -9x plus 13. So we could have used substitution as well. I could have taken this y, which is -9x plus 13, and put it in for that y, which would have given me 3x plus 2 parenthesis -9x plus 13 equals -4. If I distribute this through, I get 3x minus 18x plus 26 equals -4. 3x minus 18x is a -15x. Plus 26 equals -4. And I get -15x equals -30. So x equals a +2, which is the exact same answer we got before by using elimination. So a lot of times with systems of equations, you have multiple ways that you can approach that problem. You can either use substitution or elimination. And as long as you do the correct steps, you're going to get the same answer. On number 3, I would multiply the bottom by a +2. That would give me a 2y in the top and a -2y in the bottom. so I can eliminate my y's there. So I'm going to go ahead and rewrite this. On the top, I have 4x plus 2y equals 8. Then I have a negative 4x minus 2y equals 8. And when I add these together, I'm going to get 0 plus 0 equals 16, which we know is a false statement. So our answer is no solution. Okay, number 4. This one is a little bit trickier, so because I can't just multiply the top or bottom by one number, so I need to multiply the top by a number and the bottom by a number. Okay, I have options though. If I multiply the top by a positive 2, I can multiply the bottom by a negative 5. That gives me 10x minus 6y equals 12. And then negative 10x minus 25y equals a positive 50. When I add these together, I get negative 31y equals 72. Oops, 62, sorry about that. Divide both sides by a negative 31, and y equals a negative 2. If I plug negative 2 back in for y, my first equation there, I have 5x minus 3 times negative 2 equals 6. 5x plus 6 equals 6. Subtract 6 from both sides, so 5x equals 0, and x equals 0. So our solution is 0, negative 2. Let's look at it in another way, though. I could have multiplied the top by a positive 5 and the bottom by a positive 3. That would have given me 25x minus 15y equals 30. And then 6x plus 15y equals a negative 30. So when I added these together, I would have gotten 31x equals 0, so x equals 0, the same answer as before. Then plug 0 in for x, and we would have 5 times 0 minus 3y equals 6. So, oops, hit the wrong button there. So negative 3y equals 6, divide both sides by negative 3, y equals negative 2, which is the same answer we got before. So whether you multiplied by 5 and negative 2 or by 5 and 3, however you did it, as long as you got 0, negative 2. Okay, number 1, this is actually for the lesson. You and several other people are helping your aunt move. At lunch, you volunteer to go out and buy sandwiches. You get 6 chicken sandwiches and 6 beef sandwiches for $30. Later in the afternoon, everyone is hungry again. You go to the same shop and buy 4 chicken sandwiches and 8 beef sandwiches for $30.60. 60 cents. What was the price of each type of sandwich? So we wanted to find our variables. Okay, so what we're trying to figure out here is what was the price of each sandwich. So I'm going to go ahead and do C for chicken. So I'm going to C is the price of a chicken sandwich. Then I'll go ahead and do B is the price of a beef sandwich. Put my dollar sign there so I know I'm using dollars. Okay, go ahead and write your system of equations. I'm going to give you about 30 seconds to set that up. Okay, so for your first equation, you have 6 chicken plus 6 beef. That equals $30. You go back later and you get 4 chicken plus 8 beef, and that equals $30.60. So we want to find out the price of each type of sandwich. Now, it doesn't say what we have to use here. It doesn't say if we have to use elimination or substitution. So for this lesson, it's your responsibility to decide which one would be easier, substitution or elimination. Now, in my opinion, I think that in this situation, elimination would be easier to multiply by something. Okay. Or we do have a second option there. If anyone will notice that in the first equation, we've got a 6c plus 6b plus 30. Those are all divisible by 6, but that's not going to help us. Then we have to do 2 steps. But anyway, something to think about there. Let's go backwards. I'm not going to talk about that quite yet. Okay, so let's think about what to multiply by. So if I was to want to get rid of my c's, I can multiply the top by a positive 2 and the bottom by a negative 3. That's going to give us a positive 12c in the top and a negative 12c in the bottom. Let's go ahead and go with that one. So we've got 12c plus 12b equals 60. Then we have a negative on the bottom, so negative 12c minus 24b equals a negative 91.8. I'm going to go ahead and go to the next page because I'm running out of room here. So 12c plus 12b equals 60. Then negative 12c minus 24b equals a negative 91.8. Okay, we're going to go ahead now and add those together. So 12c plus a negative 12c is 0. 12b plus a negative 24b is a negative 12b equals a negative 31.8. I'm going to go ahead and divide both sides by negative 12. And b equals 2.65. So we know the cost of one beef sandwich is $2.65. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and plug that 2.65 back in and solve for C. Okay, so let's go ahead and we're going to go 6c plus 6 times 2.65 equals 30. So I get 6c plus 15.9 equals 30. So I'm going to subtract 15.9 from both sides. I get 6c equals 14.1, divide both sides by 6. And we get that c equals, this time it's going to be $2.35. Now, if you look at question C, it says, what method did you choose to solve the system of equations and why? Okay, in this situation, we set up elimination. That was the easiest one to set up because with substitution, it would have taken 2 steps to solve for one of the unknown variables. And to graph this, we couldn't have graphed this because we've got like 2.65 and 2.35. That's too detailed for a graph. We wouldn't have been able to find those decimals, those cents on a graph. So in this situation, elimination definitely was our easiest problem, our easiest method to use. Okay, number 2. A sporting goods store received a shipment of 124 golf balls. The shipment includes 2 types of bags, full-size and collapsible. The full-size bags cost $38.50 each. The collapsible bags cost $22.50 each. The bill for the shipment was $3,430. How many of each type of golf bags are in the shipment? So let's first of all define our variables. So everyone go ahead and do that. Decide which variables you're going to use. And let's go ahead and define them. Okay, I'm going to use the variables f. That's going to be the number of full size. I'm then going to use c, and that's going to be the number of collapsible. Okay, now that we have our variables, go ahead and set up your system of equations. I'm going to give you a minute to do that. Okay, I have two totals on here. There's 124 golf bags altogether, and that the total bill was $3,430. So to show that the total number of bags is 124, I'm going to take the number of full size plus the number of collapsible, and that's going to equal 124 total. Now to show the total cost is $3,430, I'm going to take 38.5 plus, oops, I forgot to multiply by my variable there. So times f plus 22.5 times c, that's going to be 3430. Now, think about which method would you use. I could actually see someone using substitution or elimination on this one, just depending on their preference. So I'm going to give you a minute to solve it using the method that you think you should use, and then we'll do it both ways. Okay, let's first of all start with substitution. If I want to use substitution, it's really easy to get either f or c by itself. Doesn't matter which one you get by itself. I'm going to go ahead and just get f by itself. So I would subtract c from both sides and say that f equals 124 subtract c. Now, I could then take this 124 subtract c and substitute in for that f right there. So we're going to go ahead and go to the next page and do that. So we have 38.5 times 124 subtract c, close that up, plus 22.5c equals 3,430. Now we need to distribute that 38.5 through. That's going to give us 4,774 minus 38.5c plus 22.5c equals 3430. We've got some really big numbers going on here, so we need to be careful. Pay attention to your details. Now we need to combine like terms, so we're going to go ahead and do negative 38.5c plus 22.5c. That gives us 4,774 minus 16C equals 3430. We're going to go ahead and subtract 4774 from both sides. So we have negative 16C equals negative 1344. Divide both sides by negative 16, and C equals 84. So there are 84 collapsible bags in that order. Now that we know what C is, we're going to go ahead and solve for B. So let's go ahead and do F plus, I know that C is now 84, equals 124. We're going to subtract 84 from both sides, and we get F equals 40. So there were 40 full-size bags and 84 collapsible bags. Now, how could we have done this with elimination? Well, I'm just going to kind of set up here for a second. Let me erase this. So if I have my system here, which was F plus C equals 124, and then we have 38.5F plus 22.5C equals 3430. Then we could have multiplied the top by a negative 38.5. That would have eliminated the F's. Or we could have multiplied the top by a negative 22.5, and that would have eliminated the C's. That method would have worked as well. And I don't think it would be any harder or any easier than what we just did. So if you did that method instead, that's totally fine. You still should have gotten 4 full-size bags and 84 collapsible bags. Okay, let's go on to number 3. You are in charge of decorating for the spring dance. You purchased 10 bags of balloons and 6 rolls of crepe paper for $20.10. You soon realize that this is not enough to decorate the entire gym. On your second trip to the store, you spend $12.80 on 4 bags of balloons and 8 rolls of crepe paper. What was the price of each item? Okay, go ahead and define your variables. I'll give you about 30 seconds to do that. Okay, I'm going to use B for the price. Price of bag of balloons. I'm going to use C for the price of 1 crepe paper. I'm going to go ahead and put price of 1 bag of balloons. Okay, go ahead and write your system now. You have 2 totals there. You have 2010 and 1280. Alright, for your system, you have 10 bags of balloons plus 6 rolls of crepe paper, and that equals $20.10. Your second trip, you have 4 bags of balloons and 8 rolls of crepe paper, and that is $12.80. Okay, which method are you going to use to solve the system? Go ahead and think of a method and do it. Okay, for this system of equations, there are so many possibilities here for solving by elimination. We're going to talk about a couple of them, but we're going to go ahead and wait till the next part of the video for part 2 so we can get into that before we run out of time. So we'll go ahead and stop this now and then go ahead and start part 2, and we'll go through all the possibilities that we could do for this.